I was listening to this podcast and I heard someone describe my entire life back to me. And it was the weirdest feeling because I'd never heard anyone else say it back to me before. And I was listening to this podcast with Peter Crone, and he was talking with this young guy in his like early to mid 30s about his life. And it all dove into his mind of he always had this belief running in the background that I always had to figure it out and it's all up to me. And I remember listening and watching this podcast, and I had never heard anyone say the exact same thing that I'd felt my entire life. And it was very interesting to see just everything that he was saying, from just how he views life and his relationships and work and his day to day and the thoughts and the feelings he had throughout the day and how he feels and relates to life was basically identical to mine. And to me, it was so crazy because I always felt like I'm the only one with these thoughts and I'm the only one that has this pressure of that it's all up to me. And hearing someone going through the exact same experience and having basically a coaching call with the great Peter Crone live on YouTube on a podcast he was doing was basically like my own therapy session and my own like coaching call with Peter Crone right in front of me, because everything that this guy was going and saying, from his thoughts and how he feels, how he relates to life, how he perceives life, and where he's been stuck. And it was just all of these examples that I just related so much to, of all this pressure to become something in life, of all this pressure to figure it out. And, all the pressures on me to do this and to make this work, whether it's at work and with business, or whether it's finding a new relationship, or whether it's bringing in more money in abundance, or whatever it is always this feeling of needing to be the hero in my own life, and having someone else just relay all that back to Peter in a coaching program basically was just so eye-opening for me. And just I also experienced this just deep, huge relief of just being like, wow, like there is someone else with the exact same neuroses and mental patterns that I do and that I have, right? And where I think it comes from is growing up as an only child with a single mother and having my dad pass away at a very young age. I always put this internal pressure on myself of like, I need to be better than what he was. I need to outperform this and do this. And from a very young age, because he died when I was 9, of like putting this pressure on myself, needing to be the best, of needing to perform. And it's multiplied since I was younger to everything I've done, whether it's sports or being in school or how I relate to life or all these things. Like it's been one of the greatest blessings for me, and it's provided me a ton of success. And it's still an active thing that I'm working through, of this pressure of that it's all up to me, because I still like default back to that, after so long, of the 28 years I've been alive. Like a lot of it has had that notion and that faulty thought as the governing product of the action behind it. And it's led me to being incredibly successful. It has, from a career standpoint, from just everything I've been able to cultivate in my life through different chapters of life, because I've always had that frame of reference in that state of mind before the action. And it's been amazing. But ever since I started doing this shadow work, I've really, really had to take a step back and be like, why do I have these thoughts all the time? Like, what in me, what part of me is saying this? And where does this come from? And again, and it traces back to the little kid, who's an only child and his dad dying, and he has the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he feels like he has to be the hero so he doesn't lose anyone, and that he figures everything out so he can control everything so he no longer has to lose anyone else, right? That's the pattern. It just manifests into many other different avenues that then breeds this internal pressure to succeed. And especially finding myself in life right now into a sales role where the more I do, the more effort I put in, the more output I get, and the more success I get, and the more love and praise and money I get alongside of that has been great. It has really just had me try to understand better where this all comes from and questioning, is this the only way for me to cultivate more of what I want in life? Because again, the way I've done it is by having this internal pressure of that the weight of the world is on my shoulders. And I need to figure everything out, whether it's content or I trade in the market, or I sales and I do work, whatever it is, or to get a girlfriend and find my wife and build my own family and my own community, like all of these things. And it's like Brian has to figure this out, and it's all up to Brian. What I've been able to sit with and what I've recognized is that when I say it's all up to me or it's all up to Brian, I am pushing life away. And I'm not opening up to receive because I'm so stuck in my own neuroses and so stuck in my patterns and loops that all I can think about is how do I make this work? How do I solve this problem? How do I do this better? How do I do this next so I can keep leveling up? Because that's taking up so much of my mental bandwidth, I'm not allowing the energy to relax, to allow life to bring something to me because I'm trying to control everything with the narrative that it's all up to me and I need to figure it out. That is making me try to control all of the outcomes by putting in more inputs into it instead of just trusting that I am co-creating my reality where I'm sending out my intentions energetically. I'm doing the actions alongside of that, and life is meeting me in the middle. My dreams are met to me in the middle. Me and life are both trying to find each other and try to bring everything together. That's what I believe. It's not a passive thing that you do. It's an active thing, but it's not fully up to me. And so when I say it's fully up to me, I'm pushing the other half of the equation away. And life's like, okay, cool. Like I'll step back. No problem. Because I'm telling life I don't trust it. And I'm telling life that it's all up to me. And life's like, fine, no problem at all. And so balancing that is not allowing, not balancing. By not balancing that, and not having trust within life and that life is going to show up for me every time, like it has 100% out of 100%, that if I don't trust that, I lose the game, I lose the fun. And then comes all the more pressure because I don't trust in the grander thing of life, right? And like a really cool part of the podcast that came up was as this guy was saying like these thoughts of like it's all up to me and all up to me, Peter was like, okay, like what did you eat today? He's like, I had like eggs and toast. And he's like, okay, well, after you had your eggs and toast, like, did you tell your body like, hey, we need to lay down. I can't think. I can't do anything else. So I can digest. Did you tell your nails that you also need to grow a certain length? Did you tell your skin to shed? Did you tell your hair to grow? Did you tell all these things to an autonomic system within the body? And he's like, obviously not. And he's like, well, wouldn't you say that everything is atoms? Everything is molecules. Everything is empty space within these atoms and molecules that make up the body, that then make up planet Earth, which then make up the space and the universe. So if we take everything on a grander scale of everything that's beyond the 5 senses that we have, where it's all atoms, it's all energy, it's all vibration, how can we trust in that system, that autonomic system of everything, again, from the atoms to the molecules to the elements to all these things? That's a very autonomic thing from a universal perspective. How can we trust that the way it brings order is also the way that we can start to bring order and manifest and cultivate the things within our own life? So for me, it's been this huge battle of learning to trust life and trust in the universe. And that something greater than I can think or imagine is also coming. And I can see where I still get stuck. I'm not perfect. I still see where I get sucked into it all the time, especially in work, and especially in sales, because it affects money and finances and outcomes and again, how I get love and attention and praise. And I have found time though to try to sit with that of like, how can I work on receiving as well and alongside me doing the inputs as well? Again, where it's not an inactive state, but it's how can I do both at the same time? The yin and the yang. How can I build the garden for things to come to me? But how do I take the steps to build the garden and hold out a sign, right? So for me, it's still this balance. But the main question I always keep coming back to when I can feel that I get into these states of it's all up to me, I got to do it, of just how can I soften? How can I just chill more? How can I relax? How can I have more fun? When I start making life and the things I'm trying to do a game and more fun, everything feels different. It's more lighter, it's more playful, it's more energy, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot less pressure on myself of that I need to figure it all out because I know there's a grander system at play, whatever it is. I don't know. I know there's a grander system at play that's trying to bring me everything as well. And the more that I believe that, the more weird things start showing up out of nowhere.